Hi, for today's project we're going to need a brass stamping. Now, I sell these in my Etsy shop and I'll include a link. But if you want to purchase one that isn't this particular one, then it's 1¼ inches. I also have these in my shop. These are 5/8 inches. And we need 3 of these. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to turn those little ones into cone bead caps. But if you don't want to do that step, you can certainly buy whatever type of bead cap that you like. I have a 3-inch piece of chain, a 4-inch piece of chain, and then I have extra chain that we need to use for the feathers. I have an earring finding. It's a stud with a loop at the bottom. 1/2-inch dowel or paintbrush handle or whatever that we can form our ear cuff around. I have a little piece of polymer clay. It's probably, I don't know, a bit bigger than a pea. I have mica powder, and today I'm using super bronze. This piece of scrap wire. This one is 26 gauge, doesn't matter. Round nose plier, couple of chain nose, and wire cutter. E6000, a hot glue gun, and a pair of scissors. And we'll also need 2 jump rings and 3 feathers. Now, I picked these up off of my coop floor, but to purchase cruelty-free feathers, please visit runningbugfarm.com or runningbugfarm.etsy.com. I'm not affiliated with them, but they do have cruelty-free feathers, which I really hope that that's what you will purchase. Okay, well, I will leave a link for them, and get your supplies together. Okay, I'm going to begin with my little piece of clay here, and I'm going to make a heart. You make whatever shape that you want. And we're going to use this to cover the ugly on the brass stamping. And just shape it to whatever you want. And I don't want the 2 sides of my heart to be the same. But please make yours the same if that's what you like. So I'm just shaping it. And now I'm going to use my brass stamping to add texture to my piece of clay. Okay, set your little clay piece aside. Okay, now let's use our stamping and our dowel and fold over the stamping to make the ear cuff. Mine has little hearts on it. That's why I made a little heart clay. So get that to form the best you can, and then finish up by using your pliers and just work with it until it fits your ear properly, and then we'll come back. Okay, I have my stamping pretty much the way I want it, so I'm going to pick up my heart and place it on my stamping. And I'm pressing it just to get the shape of the stamping. Not to adhere it. You actually don't want to adhere it. You just want to get it on here the way you want it, so that we have the shape, and when we bake it, it will keep that shape. And you can retexture if you need to. Now I'm just going to use my mica powder. You can use eyeshadow. And just going to rub that onto my heart, allowing some of the black to still show through. And I am not going to mica the edges, but of course you can. So now that we have the shape that we need to fit onto our cuff, just take that off gently and then bake it in that shape, and then we'll come back. To make our bead caps, check and see if your stamping has a right and a wrong side. Mine does. I'm going to work with wrong side up. And I'm just going to use these decorations, these hearts, on my stamping to make sure that I'm in the center before I begin. And we'll place it on the pliers according to the size that we want the hole at the bottom. And now just simply press upward, and then on the other side. And now I'm going to use a chain nose to go ahead and finish that wrap around my plier. Push that one a little bit too far. It is in my way. Okay. Now just flatten these out. Well, like I said, you could just purchase the bead caps. And just, fiddle with it until you get it right. And go ahead and do that with all 3 of the little brass stampings. Okay, I have my chain laid out here. And I'm going to start with my smallest feather. And we'll get some glue on the feather. Not a lot. Just trying to keep things in place for right now. I'm going to lay that right down on this chain. Just to keep it where I want it. And then, using your ear, decide about where you want this first feather to be. And then go ahead and cut your chain. Now, if you have longer feathers, what I'm going to do with those is I'm going to place my bead cap on and decide about how large I want this feather to be. So I think that is good for me. So I'll just go ahead and cut. Now you can pull or cut these fine pieces off if you want to. And I'm going to repeat the process. Straighten out my chain here. Touch of glue. I'm surprised. I usually can't do a touch, but it worked that time. Okay, it's not completely glued, but that's okay. I just need it to stay in place. And now this time, instead of using the ear to gauge, I'm going to be using my first feather to decide about where I want my chain to be. My poor wire cutters. Need to break down and get some new ones. Okay, and then do the same thing with your third chain, using your second feather as your guide. And now just to keep everything together, I'm just going to wrap a piece of wire around. I cut my wire into manageable pieces, and we're just going to wrap this around tightly. My daughter's dog crying because she left her to go to work. Okay, now this doesn't have to be perfect. We are not going to see this, but we just need to wrap this a few times to make sure that our little chain doesn't come flying off of this feather or vice versa. So just a few times, nice and tight. And then we will just and cut the excess. Okay, here is one of my feathers wrapped. Now we're going to feed this chain through our bead cap. And before we actually put it on the feather, there shouldn't be an issue with this bead cap coming off, but just in case, I'm going to put some glue here. And of course it's slopped everywhere. And then just slide your bead cap over your feather. So do all three. Okay. I have my heart that I baked, and it's ready to go. So I'm going to use some E6000 here. And glue this in the center of my ear cuff. Now let that dry. Okay, my little heart has dried. So now we just need to assemble everything. So let's open a jump ring. Let's place on the 4-inch chain. And then the 3-inch chain. And then place your jump ring on one of the openings on the stamping. And let's close that back up. Get another jump ring here. Work on this direction on this one. Let's place on the 4-inch chain and then the 3-inch chain. Okay, now let's put on our earring finding, which of course we need a back to, and I never seem to remember. Let's put on our smallest feather. And then our medium feather. Now if these feathers don't lay properly, once you get everything assembled, no matter how hard you try, just simply open your jump ring and arrange them the way they need to be. And now our longest chain, or our longest feather. Let's close this up. And let's place it on our ear. Let's see how we are making out. As far as the direction of our feathers go. It's really hard to see those little holes I made. There we go. So there is our completed cuff, and every single one of my feathers are facing the wrong way. So if that happens to you, open up your jump ring and put it on properly. Now if you prefer an ear cuff where your feathers are separated out, I am going to be making a tutorial on a wraparound cuff with feathers that will give you that effect. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you so much for watching.